All right, now on Newsfighters, one of the advantages of being an aging Gen XY millennial cusp hipster is it actually put me in the bracket of the 40 to 49-year-old eligibility for my COVID vaccine. And so last week, I got my first shot, and someone else who got their first shot is one of Australia's greatest comedy writers and also screenwriter and funny man, lapsed comedian extraordinaire, Dave Bloustien, who joins me now. Hey, Dave, how you going? First of all, what made you want to get vaccinated? Was it the government's dynamic and exciting ad campaign featuring the talking head of Dr. Nick Coatsworth? Were you swept up in Coatsworth mania?
You know what? I have paid so little attention to the government's federal rollout because it was very easy to lose focus. And that I didn't even, like when you said Coatsworth, I was expecting Norman Swan, maybe. I don't know. I've lost track.
No.
I'm afraid that was not the motivation. I purely on the level of science and just basic knowing that vaccines are important.
So you're interested in not dying of COVID. Do I understand that correctly?
I'm interested in not dying of COVID, but more to the point, I'm also interested in nobody dying of COVID. I think that's
exactly
the thing.
Yes, I think it's important for everyone. Some people heard I was getting vaccinated and they were like, oh, is he going overseas soon? I'm like, no, I just want the pandemic to end. I want the borders to reopen and lockdowns to stop and to go visit my family and friends overseas. Like, I think a lot of people don't realize how important this is.
Oh, absolutely. Just that basic thinking, outside yourself and thinking and wanting it to be easy for everyone to do. Like there should be no roadblocks. There should be no obstacles to just, I'm more than happy to wait my turn. Like I wasn't in a rush to do it. When there was an opportunity, I took the opportunity. But even when I got there, like there were people like sort of running ahead of me in the line. I just thought like those few minutes are not going to make a massive difference to that.
No. I waited my turn as well. I mean, if other people are vaccine hesitant, and I waited till my mum got her first jab before I registered my interest because I didn't want to. I figured she was definitely more of a priority than I was, and then I put my name down, and then I got called up. And if that's because other people are hesitant, then I'll happily go in the queue. In front of them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I have chronic asthma, and that doesn't come up as like a priority issue. I've got old people in my family, but again, that's not no one who's sort of like in those top tiers. No one who's particularly immunocompromised or anything like that.
So, in terms of the registration, I know we were both saying we felt a little bit bad, like it wasn't our term, and nowhere did I feel that than when you had to list your. It was like a list of occupations or eligibilities. Did you see that? And it was like ambulance worker, aged care worker, and you scroll down this whole list and you're like, well, I guess I'm general public. I'm not quite sure how I got to crash this party.
The hospital that I applied to, because I actually had two hospitals I had to apply to. I got all the way to the end. So you enter all your information and then see if there's an appointment available, and there was, but there wasn't a follow-up one. So
for your second dose,
that's right. So I couldn't book, but rather than going, what about in a week's time, or that's okay, let's see where else there's stuff available. I had to pretend I hadn't applied, go back and start from the very beginning, find a different hospital that was further away.
Oh, so you select the venue first. You select the venue first. For everyone overseas or interstate, I don't know how you did it, but I registered my interest with the federal government and didn't hear anything. And then I registered my interest with the state government and got an email back. And then a few weeks later, it sends, you're approved, and you go to this website. I think my hospital was selected already because it was like, here's your local hospital, you apply here, and then you fill in all the forms. I was checking my email
like nonstop for the full 2 weeks until it eventually came around. And I think it did select one for me at first.
Right.
By default. But you had the option to pick somewhere else. So I sort of went back and clicked on that original email link and then started again and changed I didn't change my location. I just kind of widened my search because there were. And I think I know overseas they're popping up, having little pop-up clinics at everywhere, pharmacies and everything. But I think in Australia, I think for over 50s who can get AstraZeneca, that's largely through GPs because that can be stored in a fridge. But I think for our age group,
Under 50s, we get Pfizer.
It's a very Australian vaccine you can store in a fridge.
Store it in a fridge. I was going to say, there'll be a lot of, after the pandemic, there'll be a lot of cheap, good wine fridges going from being sold by local GP offices. Store at that perfect 7 degrees.
I think we'll see a big boom in craft vaccines.
Yes.
with the great labels.
Yeah. But then for us, because Pfizer has to be frozen at minus 70 or something, so we all have to go to these big hubs, but I think New South Wales really only has one at Homebush, so we had to go to a hospital, whereas I think everyone in Victoria and other states, there's all these big hubs everywhere.
I think in Victoria it's coordinated through a phone service, which is there's no way that would work. I mean, I was on the phone for about 40 minutes until I gave up.
To try and change your venue, correct?
Yeah, exactly. But so my understanding from my family who are in Melbourne, some of whom do have jobs that got them higher up the queue. So I don't know if it's for everybody, but they went through a central phone service. Whereas I think Queensland has more of a rock up kind of situation.
And New South Wales has no walk-ins that I'm aware of. I did a quick Google. I don't think anyone in New South Wales can just rock up. But in Victoria, they did have that. And that ties into something I noticed, which I'll talk about later. When I got to the hospital, there was no signage anywhere because they didn't want people walking up.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
it was
brilliant.
It was like a secret club or a hidden bar or a rave. You know, there was just an unmarked white tent with a security guard, and I was like, "Is this the place?" Wink, wink.
I'm sure it is. It is easier to find a heroin dealer in Sydney than it is to find a vaccine. But
definitely.
But so the reason I went on this tangent is
yes, keep going.
Jobs. You talk about jobs. So you said general public. Yep. There's actually 2 at the hospital I went. There was other and general public. So I was like, and they weren't in alphabetical order. They weren't in any kind of logical order. They were
who is not the general public? Who is not? I thought general public covered everyone. Is there some people who are like, I'm not a member of the I'm not a member of society. I'm other.
That's right. Hello, human. I would like your vaccine.
Yes, I'm an alien. Other. Yeah.
But it was very obvious that they're just like madly adding things to these lists as national and state policies change. So things like, so some of the things was kind of like, I'm a cis straight, relatively white guy. But things like, having to say who, for my contact, there was a huge list of what their relationship was to me. Very gender normative. I couldn't just say spouse.
Your emergency contact.
I could specify that it's my maternal aunt, for example. I've got no idea why that's critical. If it was my dad's sister, for example.
What do they ring? Are you Dave's paternal aunt or maternal aunt? Right. Oh, sorry, paternal aunt. Sorry, I can't talk to you. Yes.
Like it starts to feel like those people that paranoia lately about online forms and passwords, password questions. Like, who is your maternal aunt? I had to pick a religion, and my background is Jewish. I don't see I don't see myself as religious. I don't see myself as an atheist either, because I feel that's like a religious position that I don't hold. And I had to. It was like a question you had to answer. And I kind of think for some people, I totally understand if they're going to hospital why that's an important question to answer. But I kind of felt like it should be optional. Like there were a lot of extra steps I had to go through that just felt really unnecessary.
And this list had like 100 religions on it. Like this was not
like a lot.
I was at work and I'm like, fill out this form. It'll take a minute, and it took quite a while. There were so many options. It took quite a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, which was great. Like in terms of, I love little bits of trivia. I love learning things. It was not the time where I wanted to learn about the existence of lots of religions that had no idea that they were there. But that's what I had to do. But I think my favorite question was. Do you want your record not to be sent to my health? Do you want your vaccine record not to be sent to my health record? And the default answer was no.
Yes.
I spent like a good 5 minutes trying to untangle like
double negative.
There was
much?
A triple negative. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, because clearly they want. I think we're not America where you get a piece of paper that you lose. That's your vaccine record that you then show to get into. To travel or to get into concerts. Here it's, luckily we already have my health record and it's already being done digitally. And I think they're trying to nudge people to do that so that they have a record of it, so that if a country does need a record of your vaccine history, you can print it out or show it on your phone in a few years' time. So it makes sense. But they know people don't like my health record, so they're trying to trick them.
That's right.
Into using it.
You see, I don't have a problem with my health record, but the thing is about that question, do you want your record not to be sent to my health record? No. That came after, on the same page, you have to answer both questions in order to progress. The question of, do you need a translator?
Right. Do you don't need a translator? Imagine if McDonald's did this. Do you don't want fries with that default no?
Probably end up with a much healthier population.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it was just like, if English was my second language, I've got no idea how I'd cope with this process. How I'd actually get a vaccine.
True.
And I suppose I could, wait for an hour on the phone, but again, like, just take away those barriers. There's a lot of people talk about Scotty from marketing. He does have, like a marketing and tourism background in terms of his career, if not his education, I'm not sure. But so at the moment, a lot of my job is in digital learning, and user experience is such an important part of that. Like, and for marketing as well, you just want to make things simple for people. The more obstacles you put up, which is, it's the whole basis of their immigration platform. So they know this, right? The more obstacles you put up, the less people are going to want to do it. And there is nothing more important right now than people just doing this. That it's easy. That you just, I'm eligible. I'd like one. Yeah, here you go. Sure, it's going to be in a week or 2 weeks or whatever, but just to have it easy for people, that seems so critical.
Yes, they need to make it a lot simpler. Personally, I found the paperwork not too bad. I'm used to dealing with bureaucratic nightmares working at the ABC on and off. But I found my experience actually getting the vax and going to the venue the most troubling, because first of all, you get the email that says it's at the hospital. I go, great. Go to the hospital, open, I'm like, I can't find it, open my phone. It's not at the hospital, it's near the hospital. And of course, the directions on where you go is in an A4 PDF attached to the email, which is very useful for reading on your phone in the rain. And then the address isn't on there clearly either, because normally what you do is with the, if someone emails you an address, you just stick it in Google Maps and away you go. So I was like looking at a map on my phone, like it was some kind of buried treasure,
It's a non-interactive PDF. Yeah, that's the one I had too. You can't click on the PDF to then get the address.
No, there's no links in there. No, of course not.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like trying to find a buried treasure. It's like X mark the spot for the unmarked tent in the car park ye be looking for.
And then you get, I'm starting to think maybe we went to the same hospital.
We did, yes.
Yeah, we did, okay.
So by my count, we checked in 4 times. So you go at the car park, they take your temperature.
And a bracelet.
Yeah, at the car park, they take your temperature and just check you haven't been in a hot spot. You get a mask and a sticker. Then you walk 6 blocks to this weird kind of uni building. You wait in a lecture hall with very weird trance music playing and this bad screen slideshow on the screen for I don't know why. And then you queue up again, and that's where you show your ID, and your Medicare card and your ID, and you get the wristband.
And by this stage, you have a wristband. You got you're covered in stickers. There's trance music playing. It's basically like Goof in the 90s. pretty much. And then you go back to the lecture hall, and you have to put up with this music some more. And I quite
then
like the lecture hall, but just you sit down for a minute and in a large room full of people.
But it's weird because it was freezing cold day. It was like the coldest Sydney day in 20 years or something when I went. So everyone's wearing jackets and you're just boiling hot, which probably, thank God they took our temperature before that. And then you go upstairs and you're like, oh, great, this is the jab. No, you sit down and you answer more questions about your medical history. And then they give you another sticker, which you stick on you, which is great. And the thing I loved is at this stage, they're like, do you have any other medical questions or issues you want to raise I've looked at today? Because maybe there's people who've turned up who are like, oh, I'm bleeding from the ear once an hour, or something like that. They're like, oh, they're at a hospital. Maybe we should see if there's any other issues. Personally, all I wanted to say was I've got a big pain in my neck from all this bureaucracy. I don't think I had to show this much ID to get a mortgage, by the way.
You have a mortgage? You're a Gen X on the cusp of Gen Y in Sydney, and you have a mortgage? That's incredible.
I did. It's a very small studio apartment, but yes.
Right.
So then you get another sticker, and then you go upstairs to get your shot, and then when you get your shot, you get another sticker with the time written on it. You got your shot.
Yeah.
So at this stage, I'm basically resembling like a 1990s high school binder or like an activist laptop. I'm covered with so many stickers. And then
Which
I don't know.
It's funny because the vaccine is like a reinforcement. So.
Yeah, and then everyone gets observed, and I had an allergic reaction once to something, so I had to wait 30 minutes. And the observation area resembled like a dreary 1980s Soviet-era high school detention room. There was lino floors, like, analog clocks, the seats are all separated out. It was like if Mikhail Gorbachev had directed The Breakfast Club. It was.
And the thing is, like, I feel so silly for mentioning that I had allergies at that point, because you have to sit there for like half an hour. But my allergy, like, she asked me what I was allergic to, and it's like dogs and oat dust. Sorry, not dogs, cats. I thought I was cats and oat dust. Not oats, just oat dust. Because I had like a muesli bar once, and something was a bit itchy. And I like muesli bars. I thought I was allergic to almonds. Apparently, no, it's not even. It's just the dust you get when you process oats, right? So it's obscure, pointless, and it's not even it's not anaphylactic. It's just a little bit itchy sometimes, right? And so I had to sit and wait there for half an hour.
Yeah, any allergy, you've got to wait half an hour, but it's fine. Everyone is told to bring a tablet or a book or a podcast or something, so you can put.
But are there people who aren't allergic to anything? Like, is that even possible?
Well, if they are, they don't know it. This is Australia, where everyone's drinking soy milk or has an asthma puffer. So I'd say it's probably everyone's got something here. But look, I found the whole process fine. Yeah, it was about 2 hours. Look, it's not glamorous. We're not in America. We don't expect to have valet parking and a string quartet at our vaccine centres.
Would be nice though.
It would be nice, but look, they did get the job done, and I think it was a great experience. And I heard someone tell me the next day that they're getting through between 1,000 and 2,000 people a day here, which is just amazing. Good. And they've set this whole thing up in a matter of weeks or months. Which is good. But I did have did you have any side effects? I don't know whether it's just I was working on like 5 projects that week, but I just felt fatigued and had to go to bed. But maybe I should
I just had a sore arm. I literally my arm was a bit sore for like a day. And it was funny actually, because I went to a party afterwards, and you could tell who'd had the vaccine. Like, there were just like a bunch of people who were just being super protective of their left arm, and it was like, and we just had like the secret nod of like, oh yeah, you got jab today, nice.
But I had a bit of sore arm, but I did feel massively fatigued. I don't know why. I heard that was more with the second dose.
I think it was probably having to answer all those questions, to be honest.
It was fatigue, yeah. But
that
it was
fatigued me.
everyone's immune response is different. But like, thank God I wasn't like driving a forklift or flying an airplane that day. My plan to go to the gym after getting my shot was very ambitious. I realized I went straight home.
Did you
lay on the couch? No, I went straight home and chilled out for the day. Yeah.
Oh yeah, just picking up anything was just a bit would just trigger it a bit. But no, it was fine. Like, I was really impressed. Like, once I got through the bureaucracy, I was super impressed.
It's very rare our government gets something right. And look, this isn't perfect, but there's still a lot of people to cover. We're only covering 100,000 people a day in Australia at the moment.
We said like 2,000. So that was 2,000 at the one hospital, or 2,000 in the state?
Just at that one hospital, yeah.
Right. I was going to say, because 2,000 in the state's not great. Like, in one hospital, that's very impressive.
Well, look, hopefully, I think we'll get walk-up clinics happening in New South Wales soon, so people can just grab a vaccine on your coffee run in the morning or something.
Crack a cold one. Yeah,
exactly.
I would like to,
all right. Thanks for chatting, Dave. Anything you want to plug? Where can people find you and your stuff?
Oh man, I wish I had something to plug. It's been so long. I have nothing to plug. You're welcome to come join me on Twitter at I_before_E, because that's how long I've had a Twitter account. I had underscores. But other than that, maybe I could come back in a year or something and say, oh, I've got something to plug now, and just in the middle of someone else's interview. That'd be great.
Well, welcome back anytime. Always great to have you on the show.
Thanks heaps. Cheers.
Thanks, Dave. See ya.
Bye.
Okay, everyone, that's Newsfighters for today, June the 18th, 2020. A big thank you to Dave Bloustien for being on the show, and a quick heads up that we recorded that interview on Wednesday right before the government changed the health advice on the vaccines, and now Pfizer is available for people up to 60 and AstraZeneca will only be for over 60s. So do a search of your local state for the vaccine registration of interest or eligibility criteria, and get on the waiting list and go get jabbed. And I was feeling very lucky and privileged to get my first jab last week. I hope I didn't sound like I was bragging in that interview, but I also feel especially lucky because we haven't had many COVID deaths in Australia recently, and I feel like we're ahead of a lot of other countries that are doing so badly at the moment. So to atone for that, I'm donating roughly the cost of my 2 jabs, which is about $60 Australian, to the Go Give One campaign for the World Health Organization Foundation and the Gavi Covax AMC, which is donating and delivering vaccines to low-income countries. And I encourage everyone out there listening to go do the same when you get jabbed. Donate a jab, pass it along. The website is gogiveone.org. That's gogiveone.org. Newsfighters is written, presented, and produced by me, Dylan Bain, for Sans Pants Radio. Thanks for listening. Our episodes are going to be coming out around the weekend, Fridays, Saturdays, for the next couple of months. Don't forget to check out our website at newsfighters.com. If you want to chuck us some money, we've got a Patreon, patreon.com/newsfighters, where you can get bonus episodes. And we're hoping to have the Apple Podcast subscription working as soon as Apple Podcast gets their act together. So you might be able to support us and get the bonus episodes on Apple Podcasts very soon, or failing that, buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/newsfighters. And don't forget, follow us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook as well. All right, that's it. Keep fighting, and bye for now.
This is Newsfighters,
where we fight the news
so you don't have to.